Let me start with something about that. I don't know, when I was at IM Bangalore, we always used to have a debate among ourselves. It was like argumentative Indians. Whether we should be called professor or we should be called doctor. Because some used to say we should be called professor because you're all teachers, we are professing and so on. Some used to say, no, there are lots of people without doctorate teaching, so if you call yourself doctor, then you stand out. Because I was reminded of the joke, two kids were playing. One of them says, was trying to boast, he said, my father is a medical doctor, he's working in a hospital. Another kid says, oh, so what, my father is also a doctor. So where which hospital is he working? No, he's a PhD. So that's there's a Paltur doctor. So I don't know, but anyway, I think they've solved the problem by Professor Doctor. But I guess you have to be president or by the immediate past president called Professor Doctor. Anyway, that aside, the title of the topic for today's discussion is Quality and Mushrooming Management. So first I always look at the title and try to prepare my talk, orient my talk towards the title. Although some people, irrespective of a title, they may do something else, but that's not the intent. First, mushrooming. I think one problem with coming later in this is Dr. Varnekar and Professor Pradeep Pal have already mentioned a lot of these issues and so on. So, few of them may be repetition, but I'll try to steer away from what they have already mentioned. These are most of them, not all. Some repetition will be there, but some may be different. It's already been mentioned, the government really wants more institutions because they want more numbers. On the other hand, we as academicians and the public also are concerned about quality. So, on the one hand, you want more institutes, you want quality. So, I always say it's not quantity versus quality. We want quality in quantity. So, we want to have quality in more and more institutions. Now, one argument is always said is let people start the institutes, market forces will determine and some of them will die, and on the one hand we have more institutes coming up, we have some of the institutions having less number of students. Of course, one might say it is because of the market forces, others, unfortunately market forces have several factors. Quality is one aspect because in Hyderabad, for instance, many institutions are having a problem in getting many students. You might argue, no, maybe it's quality, but they will say it is because of the Telangana issue and so on. People don't want to come and so on. Now, what is the truth, where you don't know, but there could be external factors that are also affecting it, not just quality. Quality is one of the factors. The market forces are not just purely quality. There is the political situation, where you are located, all those issues also come into play to some extent. So, what should the regulator do? One of the views the regulator is that regulator should simply allow institutions to start it and not worry about quality. But then people say, look, then it creates problems. The students and the parents don't know which are good institutions. There must be some mechanism for knowing, just giving permission. There are many institutions which are just dropping the students. They are not well informed and so on. Now, are they really not well informed, or whether they choose to be not well informed in the sense they just go there knowing fully well that this institute gives you a reasonably easier diploma or degree compared to others. I am not fully convinced that people are ignorant and so on. Maybe some are ignorant, some just simply choose to go there because they think they can get an easy degree or diploma. Now, if you look at the US for instance, there anybody can start anything they want, degrees and so on. I don't know how many of you get, but I used to get now less almost every year, one or two emails saying how you can get a PhD without, by paying so much money, and in 3 weeks you'll have your PhD and so on. So they are very free with that. But market forces of people know those institutes, those degrees. They don't value them. So why can't we, one situation is why can't we think along those lines if there's information available to all the parents and students. So this leads to, of course, transparency. How you should have the institution should be transparent, and what is the transparency needs to be defined carefully, because transparency can mean different things to different people. In fact, I think the principle had, I don't know whether it will ever see the light of the day, but had proposed a law which, in my mind, is a little draconian. If you, as an institute, if you claim something and it is found to be false, the director of the team can be sent to jail. So false advertising or false promotions. It's a little draconian, but I'm not recommending that it be draconian, but I think we need to think of some ways of enforcing transparency. The other problem, of course, is the world is different. US, very free. Europe is not so free. It's highly regulated, European education system. In fact, one of the top institutes in the world in management discipline, INSEAD, founded Bloom in France, is not recognized by the state government because they simply refuse to recognize their 1-year degree. Now, they are strictly speaking not supposed to give degree because they are not recognized, but they give a degree and the government just looks the other way. They don't bother. They don't bother them. So that's another model where they don't give recognition. If you are able to survive in the marketplace yourself and do well, we don't bother you. But here in India, of course, if somebody who is not recognized tries to offer a degree, he may end up in a jail. So, what is the model we want? My own suggestion, my own thinking is that we need more transparency. May not be such a very draconian law, but some law that would be a deterrent to institutions to be claiming, and also what kind of audit you can do, how you can verify some of these. I think some of these there are no easy answers. My professor, coming when I was student, used to say if there are easy answers, they would have all found by now. So they're not there, and we have to discuss and come up with some suggestions. I think that would be most useful. Coming to quality, the philosophy of accreditation is necessary because AIMS is thinking of starting an accreditation thing or getting to accreditation. I think one needs a philosophy of accreditation. It's clearly not ranking that everybody agrees. It's more about quality. Now it's a stamp of quality. Now what does quality mean? There are different accrediting agencies do it differently. I know NAC, I don't know much about how NAC does. I know NBA, how it does. They have basically reduced everything to numerical scores. In the sense, 100 points for research, but there's not enough 100 points for research. It's 20 points for publishing in refereed journals, 10 points for cases, 5 points for this, and so on. All just purely numerical. When I was the chairman of the All India Board of Management Studies, I said, it's good you have some quantification. He said, somebody may be doing a lot of cases, not publishing in top journals. Why should they only get 10 points or 20 points? You should give more flexibility to the peer review team. Of course, the administrators, the AICT people told me, Professor, you don't understand, if you do that, you will end up with a lot of court cases. So we are worried about that. But the philosophy of EFMD, for instance, as an EQUIS, is very, very subjective in the sense there are 3 categories. They have some 108 items. The peer review team comes to the institute, they verifies that the people write the self-evaluation report, and the peer review team is like an audit team, tries to verify, and only 3 days they have to verify. Obviously, they are not going to verify every detail, but they will do some sampling or some concern. They come prepared before and do the audit. Now, in the audit, there are some 108 items finally they have to agree upon.